What's going on, everybody? We are here at my house, in my room, and no, we're not going to play a crane machine or anything right now, sadly. We are going to make some predictions for our favorite sport in the world, hockey. Yeah, we live in Mississippi, and our favorite sport in the world is hockey. We're going to predict the entire NHL playoffs right now, round by round, and we're going to tell you who is going to win the Stanley Cup. You can take them to Vegas. Isn't that right? You can take these predictions right here to Vegas. Not his. He's kind of dumb. But, alright, anyways. We're going to start off with the first round here. Predict in the first round who's going to win it and how many games it'll go. First off, we're going to start with Chicago and Nashville. Nashville, my second favorite team. We got the little Predators thing hanging there. And I love the Predators. And I feel like after a couple years ago losing to Chicago in the playoffs, they're going to have a lot they're going for, don't you think? You know, I mean, as a Predators fan watching that, I remember I was on vacation in Knoxville or somewhere, and I was watching it in the little pubs or whatever was around there. I could find them showing a hockey game on. And it was just sad to watch. It was sad watching it. But I think that they are going to come back and do everything they can to win. They've been a good team a long time, but let's remember they're playing the Chicago Blackhawks. They got Corey Crawford in net, wouldn't you say? Yeah. He's amazing. He acting like you know. Who's their backup goalie? Scott Darling.
Okay.
He used to play for our local team, the Mississippi River Kings. They live 20 minutes away. First River King to ever go to the NHL. He won a Stanley Cup.
Maybe I've heard of that.
Yeah, you've heard of it. Anyways, a lot of people will maybe say Chicago wins in 4 games. I'm close to saying 5, but I think my prediction, Chicago will win in 6 games because people aren't going. I think Nashville will steal a couple from them. I think I'll probably go to Game 4 and Nashville probably make the trip there. You want to go with me?
Probably not.
Probably not. Can you speak up a little?
No.
Because they need to be able to hear us, okay?
I'm not.
We gotta be what? Speak up. Okay. So my prediction, though, Chicago will win in 6 games. The reason, because they're the Chicago Blackhawks. You cannot count them out. Now here, give us your take on it.
Where?
On the Chicago and Nashville series.
Chicago.
Chicago what?
Over Nashville, 5 games.
Okay, there. He's reading it straight from a sheet I wrote out. He told me his prediction the other day.
There's your prediction.
Yeah, I got my sheet here.
Yeah.
But you're not even saying anything about what do you think is the reason that Chicago will beat Nashville? About that stellar offense.
Or that backup guy you just said.
No, he's not. He's the backup goalie. I mean, if Corey Crawford goes out, they've got somebody to go back to. All right, so I say Chicago in 6. He says Chicago in 5. We're moving on. Now we got the St. Louis versus Minnesota series. Now, I actually like the St. Louis Cardinals a lot. They're my favorite baseball team. So, but I think St. Louis, in my opinion, kind of trashy. Wouldn't you say?
No.
You've said it many times. You have said many times about St. Louis. Don't do this now that we're on camera. You have said many times what you think of St. Louis. Now, I love St. Louis, so I love the Cardinals. But the Blues I'm not as big of a fan of, but I still like them. They're a close team to us because we live in Memphis. So I want the Blues to win, even though I like Minnesota a lot. Now, the Blues finished the season 15-2-2. So they had 15 wins, 2 losses, and 2 losses in an overtime or shootout. That's amazing. Right there for their final darn 19 games.
Jumbo.
That's jumbo. That's amazing right there. So I think this series is going to be tough because Minnesota can't be counted out. They're a great team. I don't think the Blues have been as great this season as they have been in past seasons, like when they beat the Blackhawks the other year. But I'm saying St. Louis will barely win in 7 games. I think it's going to be close goaltending, close score all the way, overtimes probably.
Yeah, I say St. Louis over Minnesota with 6 games.
We say the same thing, but one game apart. So I could see it going 6. I could see St. Louis winning in 6. Either team could win, but I'm going St. Louis 7 games. He's going St. Louis in 6. Now we move on to Anaheim and Calgary. Now Calgary had a nice run at one point during the season. They were doing really well. They blasted up the standings into playoff area. So they're a very good team. But I think Anaheim is one of the teams that a lot of people are leaving out this year in their predictions. I mean, they finished with 14 wins, 2 losses, and 3 overtime/shootout losses. I mean, that's pretty amazing right there, you know?
Yes.
Last 19 games, winning 14, I mean, that's about as good as the Blues. Now, their past 14 games that they've played, they have not left without at least a point. So they are getting results. They've had results constantly. They're a good team right now. They got that great young goalie, John Gibson, in the back, you know?
Great.
You don't know anything about him, so you hush. John Gibson is amazing, though. If something happens to John Gibson, I think their chances go down a lot.
They don't have a backup.
Yeah, they have a backup, but he's not as good as John Stinking Gibson.
Probably can't be better than him.
Yeah, probably not. You don't know anything about him, so why don't you
He's
shut
a
up?
nice man.
You don't know anything about him. I met John Gibson once.
Where?
Nashville. He's at the All-Star game. I got a lot of stories. But anyway, from that series, I'm saying that Anaheim wins in 6 games. Even though Calgary's going to be tough, I could even see it going 7. That one's just hard to predict, but I say Anaheim wins in 6 games.
I say Anaheim over Calgary in 7 games.
See, he says it goes to 7, which isn't a bad prediction. I say 6, though. I mean, it could go to 7. As I just said, it could easily go to 7.
Probably will.
Next, or it could go 6. Next, we got Edmonton versus San Jose. Now, San Jose, they made it to the finals last year. They're always in the playoffs. Always in the playoffs versus a team who doesn't know much about it as of late. You know, there's not many players from Edmonton have been in the playoffs, you know, a lot of them. So, I mean, a lot of them have, but they have all those young guys, you know.
They do, yeah.
Shut up. You don't know none of this. You just pulled these predictions out of your head. But Edmonton has who? Who's their star right now? Let's see how much he knows.
Gretzky.
Gretzky hasn't played in a while. Now, who's their big star? I mean, at least you got the right team. Who else has Gretzky played for?
The Kings.
See, because you like the Kings. That's his second favorite team. I'm not going to keep going. I could push and see if he guesses anymore. I'm not going to do it. Okay, but who's their big star? He's like the new Sidney Crosby, the new Alex Ovechkin.
It's probably some backup guy.
He's not a backup if he's a big star. Connor.
Shillings.
They got Connor McDavid. Everybody knows about him except him. He's the biggest new star in the NHL. I've been watching him. He is amazing.
Yeah.
That's the reason that I say Edmonton will upset San Jose and win in 7 games. Now, it's going to be a really tough one. I could easily see San Jose doing it. But I say Edmonton beats them 7 games.
I say San Jose over Edmonton in 6 games.
Oh, do you?
I do.
Yeah, you changed it, huh? I knew you would. See, he has written out his top 5 teams likely to win the championship, and he wrote down Edmonton as one of those top 5 when he didn't even see him going over the first round. I called him out on it before the video started, and he's changed it real quick, even though he said he wouldn't. He's changed it now to San Jose. You're just changing up your predictions, huh?
Yeah, I like Edmonton.
I like Edmonton too. I mean, I'd rather see an American team win it, but I like Edmonton.
Great young team.
He's just a parrot repeating what anybody else says.
I already knew that.
Okay, so you're saying San Jose over Edmonton in 6.
Sadly.
Sadly. Whatever. Now we're moving on to the Eastern Conference, the New York Rangers and the Montreal Canadiens. Now, these are both great teams. I think the playoff seeding is really messed up because Montreal has home ice advantage when New York has more points than them. That's messed up. They need to change that back to the old way. It's 1 through 8. I mean, come on. You know? Anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, they need to change it.
Definitely. But anyways, I think New York is a great team. You know, I'm a big Penguins fan, so I watched the Blues in 5 games last year. And that was fun for me to watch, but for them, I think they're a little upset about that. And they're going to be trying to come back in the playoffs and do something. I don't think they'll get, you know, all the way, but I'm saying that New York is going to beat Montreal in 6 games. It could go 7. I don't even know how to call this one really, but I'm saying 6 games. I think New York's definitely going to beat Montreal. It's going to be tough, though. What do you say?
I say Montreal over the Rangers in 6 games.
It could happen. It could happen. Montreal is a good team. So that's a tough one. It goes back and forth, but I say New York over Montreal. Next series, we got Boston and Ottawa. Now, Boston, they've been all right lately. You know, the last few games of the season, you know, they've gone so many seasons here, just 1 game away, missing the playoffs by 1 game. And that's been making them mad. And it was looking like it could happen again this year. And then, boom, they're in. I think that gives them a little bit of confidence here. I think Boston and Ottawa, they're both good teams, but, you know, it's going to be pretty tough. You know, it's tough to call.
Always.
I mean, it's tough to call because I don't think whoever wins this, I don't think makes it the next round. I don't think they make it past it. You know, but I'm going to say that the Boston Bruins will beat the Ottawa Senators in 7 games. And it could go either way, but I think Boston has the upper hand here. I think they've got the extra little bit of a push now that they've actually gotten past that hump, made it into the playoffs. Don't you?
Yeah.
Or what do you say?
Ottawa over Boston in 6 games.
I say, don't you? Yeah. Oh, what'd you say? The exact opposite of what you said.
Yeah.
That's not. So you're saying Ottawa is going to beat Boston in 6. That's interesting. I mean, I can see it happening.
I can see it.
But I'm saying Boston wins in 7.
Oh.
Next, we move on to Washington versus Toronto. Now, you know, I really like Austin Matthews. This is his first year. I was going to ask you some questions about it, but I'm not even going to worry about it. We're going to shorten this up because you don't know who he is.
I do, but we can go ahead.
You don't know. You don't know a thing. Here, tell us some facts about him.
He's from Ontario, I'm sure.
Which country is he from?
Canada.
Okay, well, we'll move on here. He's U.S. born and raised. Big head, he's well known for that. He's been playing in the World Juniors for him. I mean, big deal, you know? I really like watching him. Ontario. Yeah, he's playing for Toronto. It's just pulled something out your butt there.
Hey, you could play for Toronto.
Yeah, you can. But you were saying he's playing for Toronto, so he must be from Ontario. Not that there's a thing called the NHL draft, and whichever team is not doing well gets it. But anyway, on that note, isn't it amazing that Toronto was so bad that they got to draft him, and now they moved up to the playoffs? That's amazing, you know. But I see the Maple Leafs fans throwing their jersey on the ice during the season. I could see it happening. But I don't think it's going to because they know they're playing a tough team. It's one of those, they're walking into a slaughter, you know. Yeah. They're playing the Washington Capitals, the best team in the league this year. They're great. And Washington, you can say whatever you want about their playoffs, how they mess up during them, but they usually will go ahead and get through the first round. And against Toronto, I say there's usually a sweep in the first round at some point. You're a Winnipeg Jets fan. I know you know a little thing or two about that. About being swept in the first round, except I can't say much because I'm a fan of the Memphis Grizzlies. You know, you are too. Which, little side note here, your big NBA prediction. San Jose is going to sweep Memphis. I'll be at Game 4. I'll see it go. I'll see their last game. But look, you go ahead and bet on that. Did I say San Jose?
San Antonio.
Yeah, San Antonio.
I know something.
Is sweeping Memphis.
I corrected him.
I corrected myself before you had a chance to.
I helped.
San Antonio is going to sweep Memphis though in 4 games. Now let's get back to the thing here. But Washington sweeps Toronto in 4 games. I could see it going to 5 if Toronto is somehow able to pull something out of their booties, you know, or if they're able to go somewhere and sell their soul or whatever they have to do to be able to get 1 game. I say they get swept. They're getting swept by Washington. What do you say?
I say Washington over Toronto in 6 games.
6.
6.
6. Why not just say 7? Too close to call, right?
It is too close.
Dumb. Watch in a couple weeks.
You're pointing at me?
Yeah, I'm pointing at you. Dumb.
Over there.
I pointed right there. That's dumb. Moving on to the next round. I mean, we'll give him his opinion there. You know, at least he said Washington would win. It could happen, you know. But watch him be swept.
Okay.
Now we move on to my team, Pittsburgh versus Columbus. That game's going to be really tough. Again, the playoff seeding, NHL, you need to fix that, Gary Bettman, you little... Yeah, see, that's something he knows. Oh, isn't there nothing better than the Stanley Cup, playoffs here? Getting to watch your team out there winning, and then the greatest tradition of all, booing that little stinker.
I don't get to see it.
Yeah, he doesn't even have TV right now. He's in the middle of a move. But anyway, now my Penguins. They're injured. A lot of them are injured. This always happens. We are without our best defenseman, Chris Letang, for the entire playoffs. We're going to have to rely on Justin Schultz, which he's a great defender. He's not Chris Letang. Now, there's been problems with Murray lately. I hope he's ready to play game 1. But I'm still giving it to Pittsburgh to win in 7 games. I almost say Pittsburgh wins in 6, but I'm giving it 7 games just to be fair because Columbus is amazing. These are like the couple of top 3 teams here. Chicago might have them beat. I'm not exactly sure the standings, but definitely top 4. So this is tough to call. It's tough being a Penguins fan having to play one of the best teams right off the gate. We worked hard to be second best in the league. We should be playing a team that we can beat. But anyways, Pittsburgh in 7 games. That's what I'm saying.
I say Pittsburgh over Columbus in 6 games.
6 games? Yeah, I can see that happening. I say we agree with something a little bit here. All right, but anyway. Moving on to the second round. Ain't that right?
I guess.
It's right. Chicago versus St. Louis. I'm giving to Chicago. I think the Blues are amazing, and the Blues could beat them. It could go either way, but I think Chicago was mad about what happened last time, getting eliminated by the Blues. Chicago, they're going to win another cup soon. We know that. I don't want them to, but they're a team to be respected, and I think they're going to beat the Blues here, but it could go either way. I'm giving it to Chicago, though. What about you?
I said the same.
You actually said
Chicago over St. Louis.
We had both teams to go. Okay, I say Anaheim over Edmonton here in the second round. He's saying that San Jose is going to play Anaheim instead of Edmonton, but I think Anaheim is going to beat Edmonton again. I think Anaheim is the biggest sleeper team here that everybody's not counting, a dark horse, if you will. I mean, they're not as dark of a horse like saying Predators are going to win the Stanley Cup, I guarantee it, or something like that. But Anaheim is a very good team. They've won a bunch of games lately. They're pushed into the playoffs. I think Anaheim is going to beat Edmonton. Now, you said Anaheim versus San Jose, so who do you give it to?
Anaheim.
See, he agrees. It's going to be a tough series, but I don't think Edmonton, if it is Edmonton, I don't think they're ready to go all the way, but if they are able to win a round, that's going to be a big deal for them. They got good things going on in Edmonton there. Moving on, Boston versus the New York Rangers. I am giving it definitely to the New York Rangers. I think New York, even though being a wild card team, has one of the best ways to go through the playoffs. Montreal and then either Ottawa or Boston to get all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals. I think New York's going to beat Boston. Who'd you say? You said that it would be Montreal and Ottawa, the exact opposite. Between Montreal and Ottawa, who wins?
Montreal.
Montreal. He's saying Montreal is going to go to the Eastern Conference Final. Now Pittsburgh and Washington. Now here's the thing. Washington usually messes up in the second round. They are known for choking during the playoffs. I could easily see it happen. Lately, I feel like the Penguins could do it again. I mean, we got it already right now. We can do it. But every year I feel like Washington can do it, and then they don't. But at some point, they've got to go ahead and do it. Ovechkin wants a cup. I'm saying that Washington's going to beat the Pittsburgh Penguins in the second round. And are you shaking your head? You agree? We both have the same thing? But at the same time, I think if any team is going to beat Washington, it's the Stanley Cup champions. I think they could get it. And if the Penguins get past Washington, it's all over for everybody else. I think they will go all the way. Washington's our biggest block right now, but I think we'll beat them. But my prediction is going to be Washington. That's going to be if it gets to Washington and Pittsburgh, which I don't see why it won't, could be Columbus though. That's going to be the biggest series in the playoff there. It's going to be huge again.
Jumbo.
I just think Washington's too good this year. They always lose to Pittsburgh in the playoffs. I think they're going to be ready to give all they got no matter what happens. But we both say Washington over Pittsburgh. Moving on to the third round here. I have Anaheim and Chicago. He has Anaheim and Chicago, huh? Now, why don't we say who we think's going through? In 3, 2, 1, Anaheim. I think it could easily be Chicago. I think Anaheim upsets them. Everybody's saying it's going to be Washington and Chicago, and I could easily see that. But I think Anaheim can do it. Anaheim's really the team I'm thinking can go ahead and go all the way here. They've been at least get to the finals.
They're little ducks.
They're big, mighty ducks, but mighty ducks. Now I'm saying that they're going to go to the Stanley Cup Final, Western Conference champion, Anaheim Stinking Ducks. He says Chicago Blackhawks going there. Not a bad prediction. Washington and New York Rangers is what I've got to. Washington, definitely. Washington will blow through the New York Rangers if they get there. New York's a good team. Washington's going through. What was your pick?
Washington over Montreal.
Montreal. You're saying Montreal is getting all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals. It could happen, but I mean, with the teams they're playing, it could happen if they get through the Rangers. Well, we're both agreed that Washington goes to the finals.
Yeah.
Washington and Anaheim, Washington and Chicago. My pick for winning the Stanley Cup 2017, Washington Capitals. They'll win the cup. That's who I'm saying. Do you agree?
I agree.
We both are agreed. Washington is the Stanley Cup champion. I think Pittsburgh, if Pittsburgh beats them, they could do it. But we're both saying Washington wins the Stanley Cup. And now, my top 5 teams that I think could win the championship, starting at number 5, Columbus. Number 4, Pittsburgh. Number 3, Chicago. Number 2, Anaheim. And number 1, Washington. What do you say, starting at number 5?
Number 5, San Jose. 4, Anaheim. 3, Pittsburgh. 2, Chicago. And 1, Washington.
That's all right. You got San Jose at 5, but well, anyways, thank you for watching this video. Watch it again in about 8 weeks. Let us know how we did. I know mine will be spot on. His
spot on.
I mean, the ones that you picked that I picked will be spot on. But that's about it. But anyway, thank you for watching, and bye bye. Do a little thing. Do a little.
Lag discovered a Benjamin on the sidewalk. Who took it? That claw. Gag got his text returned and boy it was a haul. Who took it? That claw. That rapscallion claw. Cause everything goes back to the claw. They're wallet it all. They give all they own to the scallywag claw.